Hey everybody, it's Jim from G2H Companies. We just pushed a pretty big update to the system and I wanted to walk you guys through how to use our flagship model, the Multifamily Power Valuator. So I put together this little presentation here to kind of walk you guys through some of the basics of how to use the Multifamily Power Valuator. So it's a guide, obviously updated March 2025. That's right now. That's when we are. And we're going to go through a couple things with this video here today. As you can see, the objectives are understanding some of the basics under the hood and how the system works, how to create a new property and where to download the templates, how to use the templates and how to process the data, how to review the data and easily come back to it later, because I think that's a big part of the system in general. So to start, it's an intuitive software solution that's built to help people get property values and underwrite multifamily real estate, helps people simplify the process. I think there's a lot of monotonous workflow and data input and consolidation and standardization that's associated with underwriting multifamily deals. So we wanted to make a lot of that way easier. And last but not least, the logic, everything, this is all written by me. I'm really a real estate guy, not really a software guy, but I took the time, I learned the program, and I wrote the software to kind of take what I've spent the last almost 10 years kind of learning about real estate and underwriting of multifamily and investment properties and how these things are valued, and put it into a tool to help people kind of make quicker decisions and really process this data and get everything in a standardized format in a really easy way and really quickly, and be able to kind of revisit everything super, super quickly. So, I used Excel a lot. I was constantly frustrated by the user interface and just some of the silly things that go along with Excel. It's really not a great platform if, say you want to revisit it when you're on the road, if you're on the go, if you're traveling a lot, if you're actually going to visit these properties, it could be kind of cumbersome. So I think to cover the basic workflow, when you go into the Multifamily Power Valuator for the first time, you're going to want to add a property, then create a new instance for the property so the system can recognize, like, hey, I'm working on this property and now I'm going to underwrite it. And so then you're kind of hooked in and the system knows what you're working on. You're going to add or generate an operating statement. So there's a place if you don't have an operating statement to generate one or kind of create one. You're going to consolidate and save the operating statement to the database. So you're going to go through the consolidated categories and, kind of put everything in the right bucket. Upload and save the rent roll information. You're going to review the in-place numbers and adjust the T12 as needed to see NOI impact. So not only can you have an in-place valuation, but you can also get kind of an adjusted in-place valuation, or at least get a look at to see how your adjustments are going to impact the net operating income on site. And last but not least, we're going to cover some important notes. I think the first of which is the environment, and the system needs to know which property you're working on before you start adding data. So there's a couple different ways to tell the system, but at a base level, if you start trying to add data and you're getting a bunch of errors, you probably are not telling the system like, hey, I want to work on this property. Consolidation. So make sure to be careful when consolidating the data, especially at the beginning when you don't have many mappings saved, and ensure you're not counting things twice. So in a big operating statement, you'll have like repair and maintenance will be kind of a main subcategory. And underneath that, you'll have like paintbrushes, paint, screws, all that kind of stuff that make up the repair and maintenance cost. And so in the system, what you're going to do is go through and consolidate all of those smaller items into repair and maintenance so that it's easy to make, to draw assumptions across different data sets and different properties and really kind of keep track of useful analytics on site. So what sometimes people will do is they'll categorize each of the individual items, and then they'll also categorize that total repair and maintenance column, which is effectively double counting either the income or expense. And lastly, in review, there's a couple of different places to review past data and past underwritings and past instances in the system. So I want to actually jump over to the Multifamily Power Valuator right now. That's what we're looking at. And as you can see, no property found. If you click here in the info, check status, you'll say, hey, we're not working on a deal. The system doesn't know what you're working on. So if you go over here to data upload, to upload an operating statement and drop something in here and go to save it, which I'm not going to do because it'll throw an unnecessary error, it's going to tell you, hey, we don't know what you're trying to work on. You got an error. So to start and to just kind of run through the basics, you just click here to add a property. Once you create a property on this form, it will show up right here on your dashboard, but there will be no instances attached to that. So first you want to create a property, and then that'll add up here, as soon as you start typing in, you can see it add up into the search bar there or to the breadcrumbs, and the system identifies that you're working on a deal. So you add the property in, then you add in these additional details about your property tax information. Again, there's some little bubbles right here. And if I go in here, I'll go Citrus Park Apartments, and you can see, very easily it was updated February 28th. And now I'm working on Citrus Park Apartments. If I click here, it says Citrus Park Apartments. If I click here, it'll tell me I'm working on Citrus Park Apartments. And now the system knows what I'm doing. I can go ahead and create an instance from here. So let's say I had already created a property. I didn't have the data yet, or I didn't have the operating statement. I didn't have the T12. I wasn't ready to underwrite it. I just wanted to add a date. I just wanted to add the property. But now I've got the data. I want to come back and underwrite it. You would just find from this list of properties, you would just find the deal that you're looking for, click on it, and then just go ahead and add an instance. And once you add an instance, it will push you right here to this upload operating statement. You'll drop in your T12 right here, and I'll do that, and I'll just actually go ahead and do that. So then you just go ahead and drop in the operating statement. I went ahead and did that already. So you'd want to definitely enter in a unique instance name. So now if you were here and you created an instance, this will already be filled in for you. So you want to do your T12 entity date, your instance date, and then you'll come down here and the system will have kind of guessed at what each one of these line items should be categorized as. And then when you get to all the way to the bottom, it'll tell you, hey, there's an $859,000 difference, which means you have double counted somewhere, right? You have some section of the T12, some section of the operating statement. You have the individual columns and the total column mapped together. And so let's give an example. Let's see if I can find a quick example of this. The apartment turn cost category. We have each of the individual line items, these three, categorized as turn and make ready. But then we also have this total row categorized as turnover and make ready. So these individual accounts make up $8,438. So we're effectively double counting it. And so you would want to go through, find all of the places that you're double counting it until the difference is zero. And then you save the financials to the database. You're going to want to save all your mappings to the database. Then you can download it as an Excel file if you'd like. Then you jump over here, you upload your rent roll, real simple, same thing. It's going to populate a unit mix table. You're going to want to save that to the database. And then you can come here and start reviewing some of your data. So this collapses, so you've got a little bit more space. And I'm just going to pick on, actually, this does not have any information. Where is YouTube testing? Here we go. So you can collapse this sidebar. So the process so far has been you added a new property, then you added your tax and additional details about the structure, etc. You either came here and created a new instance for that same property, or you just jumped right to upload operating statement. You uploaded your operating statement, you gave it a unique name, you categorized all the data. Then you came here, you uploaded your rent roll, and now you're on this review data tab. And again, I don't have an instance in place, so I'm going to pick this instance that I had previously done. You can collapse this sidebar so you have a little bit more space. And this is where you can start to kind of review some of the metrics and some of the information from your underwriting through these charts and graphs. You can change all the colors, if you'd like. And these are just some other different kind of charts. So you can highlight, some different stuff. And again, you can change all the colors and do whatever you need to do with the charts. And they look something like that. And then you've got this unit mix table here, and this kind of gives you some general unit mix information about the property. Then let's go to the KPI tab. This is where you get some of your pricing metrics. So you can put in, if you put in a cap rate, it influences this purchase price. And if you put in a purchase price, it influences this cap rate, right? So if I change this to 10, okay, then all of these numbers are going to match up, right? So that's how you do that. Here are some general cards that kind of give you some information about property metrics and performance. Here's your net operating income, T1, T3, T6, and T9 annualized data. And so those are going to be like PMR is potential market rent. And you can see here, you get like a little question mark and it says PMR, NMR, EV. And those are associated with these items down here just so you can get an idea. And this is so you can see your trends. So let's say earn rental income in the T1. It seems to be going down. So in the T9, or over the last 9 months annualized, this is what you would have collected. And now if you just look at the last month, this is what you're on trend to do, which is about 200 grand less. So, you're doing a little bit worse recently. Might be worth something, kind of looking into. Last but not least, you have some unit mix information there about the rent roll. You can review by city or zip code, and it gives you some kind of basic metrics about the property. Now you can make your adjustments, and this is what I was talking about, where you could look at your adjusted value, and you could say, I want to actually tie this to the T6, and then you'll see a T3 income over T12 expenses. And if you ever hear anybody talking about that, you could really simply set that up in this system just by going through these income line items and saying, hey, I want to set this to T3 income over your T12 expenses. And you can see at the top, that is a 5.9% increase that you get from adjusting the deal in that way. And you can go ahead and just save those adjustments to your database and revisit them later. We have kind of a helpful guide about adding a property. And last but not least, if you guys have any support questions or requests, jump over here. If it's a bigger request, fill out this form and send it out to us. Otherwise, you could jump right on here and chat with me. I'm the one that answers these messages. And so, yeah, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to try to make a couple more videos, give you guys some more information about how to use the system. But that's it. And, as always, if you guys have any questions about it or while you're using it or getting the hang of it, just, let me know. I don't know why it says or there, whatever. But yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.